So I want to ask how many of you know what is blockchain protocol? Okay, a lot. So for those who don't know, so this is, just imagine the engine of the car or engine of any mechanism. So actually protocol is the engine of any kind of blockchain applications. So the first generation of the protocols, so as you know, so this is Bitcoin. So this was 2009. And then the things start to happen, and then was Ethereum, and then Monero, and right now there are a lot of new protocols coming, and all of them try to solve different challenges. So, for example, as you know, for Bitcoin, there is 4 transactions per second in the network. And for Ethereum, it's 20 transactions per second. So this is speed of blockchain. And this is challenges why, for example, enterprises and so like payment gateways, payment system cannot use like Ethereum or Bitcoin. So because of it's possible to have like 20 users in one time. And for example, Visa system had 24,000 transactions per second. So much more than Bitcoin or Ethereum. And a lot of projects, so they try to solve 3 key challenges of blockchain protocols. So first is speed. So second is scalability. And the third is security. So this is 3S. And so we actually focused on solving these issues by Enecuum. So we call this like 6th generation of blockchain, but we try to call this blockchain of tomorrow. So because it's very scalable, secure, and have high speed, so we can reach like up to millions transactions per second. And in our testnet right now, we reached 60,000 on 60 nodes. So this already more than Visa and more than any kind of blockchain right now in the market. So in case of security, so we use hybrid consensus. And this is another thing that market expected. And so we use 3 type consensus: proof of work, proof of stake, and proof of activity. So this is multi-layer consensus. And the cool thing that proof of activity can be done by mobile phones. So this is mobile phones mining. Because another question, how many of you have like ASIC miner to mine Bitcoin? Okay, 2. And how many of you have mobile phones? Everybody. So that is actually the question, and our answer is mobile phone mining. So and mobile phone mining is the biggest part of our emission and our rewards. So it's 70%, and proof of work is 20%, proof of stake is 10%. And actually mobile phone mining is very important, for example, for implementation blockchain in undeveloped countries, where actually people don't have a lot of electricity or stable access to the internet, data centers. So, but mostly all of them have mobile phones. And this is a great opportunity for mobile phone operators. So to build any kind of loyalty programs based on the protocol. So to give rewards to their customers and then to increase their ARPU. So the next thing in blockchains, right now, so for Ethereum, for example, is smart contracts. And they are built on Solidity, and so how many Solidity developers in the world? So very few, and it's very complicated to build smart contract on Ethereum. maybe for someone not very complicated, but and so our solution is smart contracts built on JavaScript. So and JavaScript is one of the most popular programming languages in the world. And our contracts are based on linear logic, and this helps to make them secure. So we call our protocol is protocol focused on business solutions, and there are a lot of features that are suitable for business applications. For example, for supply chain, for banking, for payment systems, for any kind of industry, for health tech. So and my colleague Jeff, so he's our business development officer, and he came from telecom side. So he used to work for Huawei and for Canonical Ubuntu. So and he is a real person who knows what actually business needs. So what actually business wants, and that is why we are oriented on like business requests and built a our protocol. For example, for banks, we are a member of Hong Kong FinTech Association, and I was surprised to know that in Hong Kong, for example, there is a institute, so this Applied Science Institute, and this is 100% subsidiary of Hong Kong government, and they are implementing kind of innovations in Hong Kong economy, and they implemented these blockchain solutions from 2014 into the banking, some banking applications. So they're working with HSBC, Standard Chartered, Bank of China, and in several kind of like government applications. But they don't have like universal solution for this application. Sometimes they use Ethereum, sometimes they use Bitcoin, sometimes they use Hyperledger by IBM. So this like the mostly popular solutions right now for banking. And so, for example, for banking, we have private chains. So this is chains where like two or several parties have special encryption key, and nobody else can see the transactions in these chains. Yeah. So yeah, and Jeff will introduce so the most interesting things, of course, for any kind of protocol is use cases. So Jeff will introduce use cases so we have on our protocol.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you for your time. My name is Jeff. I'm Chief Business Development Officer in Enecuum. Like Ivan was saying, blockchain protocol is basically an engine. So without an engine, you cannot start a car. So without using blockchain protocol, you cannot build applications. Every time you need to use some kind of protocol, whether it's Ethereum, Ripple, Stellar, or anyone else. So we are currently on a roadshow for almost 2 months already. We met quite a lot of people. We're traveling everywhere. Dubai, Luxembourg, Hong Kong, Korea, and a lot of other locations now here in New York. We see a lot of startups that are doing a lot of blockchain-based solutions. In most of the cases, only a very small portion of their solution is actually on blockchain because it's currently not in the state where they can use it for all their requirements. For example, we're talking with a trading company that they expect millions of users, and using Ethereum, they can support only 20 users. So it's actually kind of useless. So there is, of course, the hype and the crypto exchanges and Everybody is following that all the time. What is the price of my Bitcoin or Ethereum, when it's going to go up, and everybody happy or unhappy. But as somebody who had several waves of different technologies that died, like WiMAX or now OpenStack, so I'm very familiar with the concept of what is the successful technology and what it needs to be successful. And most thing is to be for technology successful is of course adoption. So adoption, real applications, real use cases where it really can solve pain points and problems. Why Enecuum is different from any other protocol out there? Because first of all, we were not a fork. We didn't took something that was existed and just change its name, add some secret sauce to it, and here we go, we have another coin. No, we actually made the journey from the start, took all the problems, all the pain points that are present in all the other technologies, hired a very, very good mathematical and technical team, and actually solved those problems from day one. So we currently have 60,000 transactions per second running on our testnet. We have the multi-consensus algorithm for the security, ease of use of smart contracts because we use JavaScript. We also support sharding. And the most important thing is the mobile mining part. Why it's so important? Because eventually blockchain as itself is meant to optimize business processes everywhere, in banking, in real estate, in legal, in healthcare, in all sorts of multiple different industries. It's a cross-industry solution, and this is why I think it will never die, because it's so broad and involving so many different things all together. It's like kind of like the internet was. But eventually in countries where the processes are defined and they are there, like United States or European Union or some other developing countries, the processes are working there for years. There is banking, there is healthcare, it's working. Maybe it has some problems, but it's working. Where really you need blockchain is in third world countries where there are no processes or the processes are manual. And people do not get their healthcare, or people do not have a possibility to go to a bank to have a loan. Or people making coffee for Starbucks and eventually they lose money on it, even though they're making it for one of the biggest coffee makers in the world. So in order to solve those kind of problems, you need to create a technology that will be able to work on virtually anything. And in our case, it's the mobile mining part. So I was living in Africa, in Angola for 2 years. The electricity from the grid there was 4 hours per day. So you cannot make a proof of work mining with ASICs in a data center because it's useless. It will never work. And this goes for Latin America, for most of the African countries, for quite a lot of Asian countries. But in all those countries, you have people running with mobile phones and internet. And on those, we actually can use this community and contribute to this community while with our token. And this community can receive all the needed services like healthcare, banking, and all sorts of other services that they can use, utilizing their mobile phones, our blockchain engine, and other startup solutions that are using our blockchain to create digital applications on top. So the main use cases that we wanted to touch is, for example, smart contracts. So a lot of people are talking about smart contracts. Many of you, of course, know what the smart contract is, but I would like to touch this idea. For example, we have one of our future partners. They create a system for smart contracts, which is like an e-commerce platform where you can, using smart contracts and templates for legal, you can create any legal contract for purchasing, selling, renting, dispute resolution in a matter of minutes using smart contracts. Plus, you can also receive in the e-commerce platform services from very known legal companies, which are quite expensive, and also from some smaller ones, which are very competitive. So imagine to yourself that you can do all of this without going to a lawyer from your computer or from your mobile phone, even in countries like Somalia or, I don't know, northern part of Russia or Ukraine. So, and you can be completely covered from the legal side. So this is like disruptive stuff. And it's really helpful for quite a lot of people in developing countries as well as quite successful ones as well. Another one that I would like to mention, I saw that there is a healthcare session, probably the next one, but this is also something that we're tackling right now. So we have also one of the startup partners. They are specializing in creating decentralized healthcare digital identity systems. So just imagine to yourself, for me, I was lucky to live most of my life in a very developed country. So whenever I go to a doctor, I had a special card, and any doctor can use this card to see all my Röntgen, urine test, blood test, all my history back probably 15 years, in order to understand what kind of diseases I might have, what kind of problems I have, in order to prescribe me the right drugs and treatments and etc. But let's say if I was leaving this country and going to United States, everything was blank. There is no connection. So if I will go to a doctor in the United States, he will demand from me, okay, in order to understand what's going on with you, you have a nice smile and nice face, but I need Röntgen, urine test, blood test, some other tests, and of course, healthcare here is super expensive. So, basically, he cannot use the same card in order to see on his computer all my digital identity information. So, what is this company doing using our protocol? They're creating a special decentralized system. When I'm, for example, as a tourist, go to United States, my information flows with me to this country. And there will be specific doctors and pharmacies working with this company that will be able to use this digital information and see my all previous healthcare records. Plus, they can also, it will be automatically connected to local doctors that can certify my recipes for drugs that I receive on a daily basis, from blood pressure or I don't know, any sort of diseases that I might have or something like that. It can save lives, really. It can create a lot of business for pharma companies, for doctors, especially also in the developing countries. That's the second use case. The mobile mining use case is very important, as I mentioned it quite a lot. So you can build on top of it anything you want. Banking, it's one of the options, but definitely healthcare as well. The most important, I think, use case, which is very interesting for mobile operators. Mobile operators are bleeding money for years and years because of us. Because we use WeChat, we use WhatsApp, we use Telegram. We don't send SMS anymore. We're not calling anyone anymore because we use all those social networks. And they are bleeding money all the time. So they need to come up with interesting ideas. And the only problem that they have is ARPU, average revenue per user. So that's the biggest problem of any telecom operator today for B2C use cases. So imagine to yourself a telecom operator that is actually selling white-labeled mobile mining. So people are paying for cloud mining like $500 per month. And they are like doing it like crazy, and you have rigs expanding, scaling out all the time in Canada, in Russia, in all sorts of other countries where electricity is cheap. So people will probably, not probably, we know it, they will definitely going to pay approximately $20, $30 per month for the mobile mining package, which is actually 100% increase in ARPU, if you compare the general rate that people are paying per month. So for mobile operators, that's a killer application. And there are, of course, many other use cases that they can build on top of this engine using our ecosystem partners. We have right now 700 startups pending to use our stuff. It's not yet there. We have a test net. The product will be completely mainnet end of summer. We have a tremendous relationship with a lot of people and the VCs that support us. So that's, I would like to also mention the supply chain part. The supply chain part is also losing, a lot of companies are losing millions of dollars because they do not know where the product is, or companies that make a product for them like coffee or rice, they have a lot of local problems that are completely untransparent to basically a company that order rice or coffee in America or in Europe. So in order to make those processes completely single pane of glass and transparency, we have also several partners that use IoT devices. smart containers, IoT devices, and our blockchain protocol that will enable, basically from one perspective, for the farmer to receive his money in the right appropriate time. From a second perspective, it also gives a lot of responsibilities, much more responsibilities for the farmer right now to deliver the product at the right time, the right quality of the product, and the right quantity of the product. And all the middlemen in the process, sometimes there are like 20 companies that participate in this process, at least 50-60% of them are going to perish because they are not needed. And they're actually adding a lot of margin on top, which is paid by a company that is ordering this product. So this will enable a lot of transparency, a lot less bribes, a lot more money to be saved on the supply chain processes. So this is everything from my side. I would like to mention that technology can be great, but eventually it's people who deliver it. So we have a wonderful team. It's distributed all over the world. I'm based in Germany, Düsseldorf. I used to work before as an executive sales in Canonical Ubuntu. Somebody knows what Ubuntu is? So Ubuntu is the most famous Linux in the world for developers. Approximately 70% of the developers in the world use it for many different products and services, including blockchain. And before that, I used to be vice president of sales of Huawei in Europe. Ivan has a tremendous experience also as an entrepreneur. He's based in Hong Kong. Most of our developers are based in St. Petersburg, and they're doing a tremendous job. We're already 30 people. Any questions?
Yeah, actually, we have some very genius guy who is architect of this system, and he's like alien from another planet, because so everybody who listening about the features and about the technologies, so we are using and we are combining together. So they say that can be done only by crazy guy in good meaning, So yeah, and where we are, so we are not here for like raising money, because we already have a lot of interest from supporters and from contributors. We are looking for like smart partners, and we are looking for adoption. So because this is the most important thing for blockchain protocols. And we will be happy to discuss potential like collaboration, application, contributions to this system. Yeah.
And of course, it will be open source, so we'll be able, if you're smart enough, you'll be able to use it free of charge for your own purposes.
Time for one question. Can I have one? So I'm from telco, so actually, if it works, I can introduce you to a few people. But I have to ask you a tough question. Mining demands a really efficient and really expensive hardware. You know, even desktop GPUs are not enough. There is dedicated hardware for that. You want mining to happen on mobile phones and in third world countries, mostly, where there are only low-end phones. So Russian developers are fantastic, yeah, really smart people at mathematics especially. But how do you tackle this challenge, and how much can a miner make from a low-end miner on a phone?
Yeah, that's why we are using not only mobile phone mining. So our consensus is 3 layers. So this is 3 stages of verification of each transaction. And so we have proof of work as the first stage. So this is done by CPU. Then it's proof of activity by mobile phones. And actually, this is done by teams of miners. So this is teams of devices from 64 to 128 devices. And this is like competition. And this is 70% of mining. And then the rest 10% is proof of stake. So this is as well done by CPU. So we are still using CPU for mining. So which is like need to be big computation power. But for mobile phone mining, this is like special algorithm. They are only checking the balances, they are checking the hash. So don't need. And if we are talking about requirements, so this is Android from 5.0. and 1 gigahertz processor and 5 gigabytes storage. So this
And
is
you'll be surprised
not top
what kind of
requirements.
phones people in Africa are using. They cannot eat, they might not eat, but they have the best mobile phone. I can tell you that I was living in there. They have always a suit and a mobile phone.
Same in China, for example. So he can get like $500 salary, but everybody has iPhones.
One question. The mobile money is okay, but what about battery consumption? Because sometimes the mobile phone is the thing that you have to use every time. And you should be online every time. And if you use it for mining, and in a very important moment, it will go out of charge. So we know it.
So we basically use JavaScript, and we require a very small amount of battery and CPU. Let's say it's somewhere between 1 to 10%. It depends on what kind of calculations are being done on the phone. But I can tell you a little bit earlier story. One part of the same team, they are serial entrepreneurs, and they're actually making right now power banks that you can recharge in 30 minutes. This is the same team. So we are super specializing in how to save battery power, plus create a product that can charge your phone in 30 minutes.
So if you are talking about comparison, so this is not more consumption than your Facebook application. So
Consensus power of activities. It means that you have to be active in mining as much as possible. So you use as much as possible the battery.
Yeah, but let's say I'm using Telegram all day long, and it will be the same. So it's a little bit more than your standard messaging app.
yeah, but the thing that people get rewards for this, and so this is important. So they don't get rewards for using Facebook or Telegram or any other kind of message.
Are you guys providing your own mining pooling service, or are you letting the telecom companies pool the mobile devices on their own?
First of all, we're going to create a very big airdrop of tokens for people to install our application on their phone and make adoption possible. And then we'll probably grow it organically. Plus, we have quite a big interest from mobile operators, as we said. I cannot mention the name, but we are speaking right now with mobile operator that has 600 million subscribers. And they are super interested in the service, and it will be probably, if we're going to close the deal, it will probably be pre-installed as an application on most of the mobile phone, or by OTA service, it will be provided in the mobile phone.
Yeah, so we are focusing to make this airdrop like for testing our proof of activity globally, so and to cover like from 50,000 to 100,000 devices at the same time, and as well, so we are using like 7 parameters to track that devices are not the emulation, so that they are not in the same place. Like one guy have 10 mobile phones in the same place. So because we need to make this as more decentralized as possible.
And so you have an extremely low difficulty from sharding, and what kind of sharding techniques are you guys using?
Network sharding.
State channels with DC Schnorr signatures? With Schnorr signatures, or what kind of technique is the sharding?
We'll be able to answer your question offline. So just
Yeah.
give you our visit card.
Any more questions?
I mean, just to clarify, I understand you're looking for strategic partners, but are you looking for any investments? And my second question would be, can you just give me 2 sentences about your micropayments, because I looked you up on the website, so that's an interesting area.
So for micropayments, we have, again, we're really into collaborations and alliances and partnerships. We are the engine. So what kind of the application are built on top? The guys that are making the application, like this guy, for example, they are responsible for it. So we are willing to bring those companies together with us to provide you solution for micropayment. Specifically for micropayment, we have currently already 2 companies. One of them is Paytomat, and they are making micropayments for point of sale integration. for Panasonic, IBM, NCR, all the standard ones. And for micropayments in banking, we have Plasma Bank, which is also a partner of ours. In terms of investment, we encourage you to go to our website and see the information there.
Thank you, everybody.
Some couple of words about
Yeah.
investment. So our token is like completely utility token. So this is the gas of the system. And so in case of raising funds, so we don't do any kind of public ICO or something. So we do only private sale with selected partners and who can give us like additional value. And so we already overbooked, so we don't need more, but we want to select the right one. Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
What